We talked about, listening to our children. When you're talking to Black fathers, or what advice do you have for Black fathers when it comes to marry, right? Because we all experience it. I think we all had similar upbringings. We didn't have all the same experiences, but definitely similar, right? Of how we was raised. Nick talks about this all the time. We talk about it all the time on the podcast and the group, discipline versus diagnosis. Being a Black father, the way you were raised, how do you handle discipline in your household, knowing that, and at least in our experiences, the way that we was raised just doesn't work, right? It may work in some cases, but it doesn't work all the time. So what would you tell fathers? What advice would you give them for that?
Yeah, the thing I try to do with my kids, I don't know if this applies to everybody, but I just try to be extremely locked in and connected with my kids, so I understand their brains, I understand their minds, I understand what their levers are. So, you know, sometimes in order to change a behavior, we always think of things in terms of punishment, but sometimes it's not punishment. Sometimes it's a reward. Sometimes it's, how you frame things. So I just try to be as locked in as possible to know my child, so I know when it's the right hand of strength or the left hand of mercy, so to speak, where, hey, like, this is autism. He's just having a meltdown right now and he needs his time versus, no, he think he's getting over. And I heard an old story once from, I don't know if y'all used to watch like the MSNBC lock up all the prison shows and all that. And they even talked about what made a good guard. And the guard said, I always treat them with respect and I give them what I can give them. But if it's something I can't, I don't. And I try to, and I'm not saying that my kids are prisoners or I'm a prison guard. I'm not saying that, but it was just a profound quote for me. So for sometimes I could be very rigid on rules, but is it really necessary? So for example, at bedtime is at 8:30 and they're finishing a episode of Dragon Ball Z and it's 5 minutes left. Do you really need to be that hard ass on your child because you're enforcing rules? Or can you say, you know what? Tomorrow's Friday anyway. I can give you that 5 minutes. I can give you a little bit. And you give them that. But then there's other times where you got to go. You got to be somewhere on time. It's something that's expected from them. Then you hold the line. And they learn to kind of understand that give and take of when dad can give me something, he give it to me. But when he's not budging, I'm going to go ahead and do what he says do.